Good morning, Maple Crest students, staff, family members. I am here with a former Maple Crest Wildcat, right? So he was
Yeah.
here. We were just talking about it. He graduated from Kokomo High School in 2019, which meant he was here at Maple Crest in 2013, 14, 15, because you went here 6th through 8th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is Kyler Groover. He's in the United States Air Force, and right now it's Saturday night. We had to record this early because I'm going to tell you in a minute he's going to get deployed. But it's Saturday night here about 8:30, which means it's what time where you're at
It is Sunday at 10:30
in the
in the
morning,
morning.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's Saturday night here, Sunday morning there. So I don't know. I'm like a time traveler, man. I'm like, I guess I'm going forward in time, right? So that's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
but no, Kyler was one of my former students. I love this kid. We always had fun in class. Um, but when I saw that, this is where social media, internet, all that stuff is a good thing because you're able to connect with people and do things that you probably wouldn't have done. I mean, well, you definitely wouldn't have done 20 years ago or something like that. So this is where using the internet and social media for good is a makes it worth it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, is this how you keep track with your family and stuff back here?
Yeah. So it's one
You
of
guys
the
do a lot.
main ways. Yeah. Being overseas as far as I am, FaceTime, Facebook, social medias, all that stuff.
All right. Well, I'm going to show everybody real quick. So you're in Guam, and I just want the kids to get a look here. So I'm going to try this thing out here. Let me see. So I got, all right. So make sure I'm clicking these right. Okay. So here is Guam right here. And just to show you guys basically where it's at, I'm going to zoom out. We'll keep zooming. Well, before I zoom out, where are you about in here?
So it's going to be the top right of the island,
So like up in here?
right in there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then is that, and there's an air base there? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So there's an Air Force base there, and then like the middle left side where the parts kind of come off the island, that's the Navy base.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's Navy base too. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of work with both Navy too?
N Not so much. No, they kind of do their thing and we kind of do our thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to zoom out here and let's do, whoops. I just want people to see exactly where you're at because there you see the Philippines. Over here's Japan, Taiwan. You're over here. And I'm going to go all the way to the United States. There's Hawaii. And here we are in little old Kokomo, Indiana. That far away, man. That's where you made it to. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, about 20 something hours of flying.
Wow. Yeah, so you're way down. There you go. Way down in there. That's crazy, man. Out in the middle of nowhere. What's the weather like there?
Hot and humid all year. The weather
Okay,
never changes.
so do you miss like the Christmases?
Yeah, so this is gonna be my second Christmas here this year, and it's not the same coming from Indiana because it's sunny and 90 degrees on Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving.
Wow, man, that is crazy. But
It's
do you like living there though? I saw one time on Facebook you talked about like it's almost like you're on vacation sometimes when you go out there and you have palm trees in your front yard and
Yeah, so it's kind of like being in Florida a little bit, but like I live here for 3 years,
right.
and yeah, so there's beaches, kayaking, snorkeling, scuba diving, the whole like anything you could think of that you would probably do in Hawaii or Florida, you do here.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, so you graduated in 2019 from Kokomo, and then did you automatically want to go to the Air Force, or was there something else you wanted to do? Did you try something else and it not work, or
So I was just kind of working like random jobs, and then I had a son 2 years ago, and once I had him, like it just wasn't working out. Like I wasn't getting that home time with my family, and financially it was a little stressful. So I decided to join the military as working for one of my best friends. So that's what I decided to do.
All right. And so you're at the Air Force, and what do you do in the Air Force?
So I am a electrical power production. In shorter terms, I make power. So it kind of plays a big role here in Guam because the whole island is run off of like one power plant. And so like we had a typhoon. The typhoon knocked a lot of the grid out. So like power lines, anything above ground was all tore up. So for about, I don't know, a couple weeks to a month, we were just running generators 24/7, keeping the base powered, keeping
Wow.
a lot of key components powered.
Yeah.
So like also like we have wells that run on power that push water to base, and those didn't have power, so we were powering those as well.
Okay. So if you were to go on like, well, and I know I just kind of said a little bit, you're getting ready to go on a deployment. Actually, that's why we rushed this interview up a little bit because when did
Yeah.
you leave in what, a day or two?
I leave in 2 days.
2 days. Okay. So,
Yep.
okay. Now, when you go to a place like that, do you have to like kind of help establish power and things like that there, or what's the?
It kind of depends on their needs. Like so we don't always get specifically deployed for our job. They might
Right.
need
Right.
us to do anything, but uh yeah, but typically they'll need us to do stuff like run power plants.
Right. That's what I figured. Yeah, you can set up and have your all your comms and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so
cool.
if they sent like back in the day when they were going to like to the Middle East the first time, like my job, they were running the tent cities. Like they were
Yeah.
running the
Okay.
power to the tent cities.
That's what I figured. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, and then let's see. Well, what's I want to know. I want to know. See, I always wanted to join the Air Force when I was little because I loved flying. I wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in high school, I met with the Air Force recruiter, and I told him I wanted to be a pilot. And at that time, they said you had to have 20/20 vision. You couldn't wear glasses if you wanted
hmm
to be a pilot. Now I don't know if I think that's changed, but but so I got to ask, do you see like some pretty cool jets and stuff like that?
So my job, we have kind of two different jobs. One job that was like just put on my career field a long time ago. I don't know really why it fell on us, but so I don't know if you're familiar with aircraft arresting systems.
Oh,
No? Okay, so
no.
it's basically it's a I don't know how to explain it simply, but you'll have a long metal cable that goes across the runway. Um, it's the same exact thing they how they land
On
planes
the
on aircraft carriers.
carriers, and it
Yeah,
slows them down, right? Okay, I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. So the thing they hook up to that shoots them off and what slows them down. So we maintain those on the Air Force Base. So
Oh, okay.
I'm yeah. So I get out on the runway quite a bit. I get to watch planes take off, and so since we maintain them, when we get an in-flight emergency and they have to use them, we have to go out there, and it's kind of cool because we get to watch them hook up, like they land and they hook onto it, and it's kind of like we maintained them to be able to let them do that, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's
And
super.
we can say we caught a plane, so
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
actually
yeah.
caught a couple planes.
Well, yeah, and you know what? It's funny because, and I'm not sure were we, we might have just been starting the whole STEM process when you were here. I don't know. Were
Yeah,
we doing STEM stuff yet?
they were just incorporating
I
it
was gonna say,
when I got there.
I thought we were just starting it right about that time. And really, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, the science, the technology, the engineering of it. I mean, that's kind of what you do that ties into stuff these kids do. I mean, we try to talk to these guys about real life applications. So many times you hear people saying like, "When am I ever going to use this?"
Yeah,
In real life and stuff. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff we're kind of like, yeah, you're not going to use this anymore. But
y-
that problem solving, the figuring out like, oh man, we have to do this and we have to be ready. And what if that cable doesn't work? What do we have to do and how do we fix it? And just
yep.
kind of solving those problems. And you have to be ready and able to do that. Do you find yourself like kind of like, oh man, this isn't working. What do we got to do? And especially in a crunch time, you kind of got to figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of quick thinking that comes into it here and there. Like I even caught a plane once, and Like I had to just do some quick fixes on the spot because our machine, like we caught it successfully, but the purpose of the machines that we have on each side of the runway that holds the cable is once it's dragged out, we it's an engine and then we rewind it back to where it was. So that's the only purpose of the engine, but sometimes things break. You just got to fix it on the spot. You don't want to
Yeah.
look bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is it okay? Let's be honest here. Are you finding though, like some of the stuff you did in school though, you're like, okay, now I'm seeing where like this kind of plays into real life, and I try to tell these kids all the time, it's not always the book stuff that you learn, but it's learning to work with other people. It's learning to work with people that are different from you. You may not always get to work with somebody you like all the time. You kind of have to you kind of have to learn to balance, the social part of it, the intelligence part of it, you know, all that stuff together in one.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely creating relationships with people, especially in the military. Like they want to see you excel, right? They don't want you to be where you are when you join. They want to be able to trust you. Like they have me leading projects, I lead crews, the math never goes away. Microsoft Excel, I love that. I would have said I would never touch Excel back in when
Yep.
I was in high school, but Excel, I love that application. It works. It keeps everything like organized and yeah. So just, a lot of stuff you learn in school is pretty applicable to further on in life, even if you're not in the military.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, that's why I try to tell these guys. I said, yeah, you may not use 3x minus y, but the idea of problem solving and figure this out and going to the next step and doing not only that, but just multi-step problems and trying to figure them out. I say you do that all the time. Sometimes just going to the store, you do that. So
Yeah,
that's
converting things to percentages and
yeah,
learning how to, you go to the store and it's 5% off. How do you figure out, what exactly am I getting off?
exactly. No, you're right. You're right. Um, so is there, can you tell us anything about the deployment you're going to go on here soon or?
Um, I don't really know what I can and can't say,
Yeah.
but
Do this before you went to Guam. So did you just do basic training and then your first assignment was going to Guam?
oh, okay. So yeah, so what I do. So from recruiter to where I'm at right now. So I was at the recruiter. You go through MEPS. They go over you physically and everything, make sure you're good to go. And then let's see. Then you ship to basic training. You do the Air Force's 8 weeks, 8.5 weeks, somewhere around there. And it's I thought it was fun. I thought basic training was, but it is Air Force basic training. So, people will, you know,
Yeah, I know sometimes you get a bad rap, right?
uh, fun. You just have to learn to get yelled at, and then you don't get yelled at if you do things right in the right way. So,
Well,
and
you know
then
what? That's what I tell my kids at school. I'm like, if you just do things right, you won't get in trouble.
yeah, they get fed up if they have to tell you something a million times and you still can't get it right. So in basic training, there's about 50 guys, right? And if one dude screws up, all 50 of you get the bad rap for it. Like get out on your face, do some push-ups, whatever. And then you learn to work as a team. And then you learn to keep 50 people accountable. And so that's everybody's job. And then
Yeah.
in in the Air Force, when you get out of basic training, so you would with the recruiter, you would know what job you have. And then you get out of basic and you go to tech school. And tech school is basically you're learning your job. I call it the college experience because that's kind of what it was.
Right, right.
So you get out of basic and you go to tech school and you're kind of like you're not getting treated like a toddler anymore. They kind of like you just go to school and then once you get out of school, you're kind of finally doing your own thing. Now you still stay in like dorms and stuff like that, and like you get room inspections and uh, yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, tech school was pretty enjoyable. I was there for 4 months,
Oh, wow.
so basic about 2, tech school for 4, so all in all about 6 months, and then I went to, um actually came back to Kokomo after tech school for about 20 something days, and I actually went to Kokomo High School.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was working with the recruiter in Kokomo, and then we went to all the high schools, and, we set up tables, and then when I got to Kokomo High School, some of my former teachers came down. I was like, "Oh my gosh, can you come speak to my classes?" And, yeah, I don't know if any of you met Miss Polionda, but she specifically came down and was like, "Hey, can you speak to all 7 of my classes tomorrow?"
No,
So,
I can tell you from a teacher standpoint, and like somebody like you, I mean, we, we love to see kids become successful, and whether it's in the military, whether it's in a business world, whether it's something else, and unfortunately, we see a lot of kids that don't become successful,
yeah.
but it's the ones that do, that, man, I mean, um, it's just like, man, I love seeing that kid do something, and kind of like right now when talking about just problem solving and stuff, just talking to these kids, and because you remember when you were in eighth grade, you knew everything, you had the world in the palm of your hand, you didn't need anybody to tell you
Yep.
what to do, life was great, but you do have those obstacles that you have to kind of come across along the way, and learn to deal with, and I think that's what a lot of teachers, we still have the high school kids come down and talk to the eighth graders. Honestly, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. But if it helps one or two kids, and that's worth it. But then it's sometimes when you have these people that have been older, and they've done something well, and then that's probably why she wanted you to come back and talk to them and just say, hey, here's your options in life, and here's what you're going to do. And it gets harder as you get older, but it gets more fun though, doesn't
Yeah. Yeah, and even, I wanted to make it a point to come talk to your classes because, like, I didn't do well in school. Like, I wasn't a school kinda guy,
it? Right.
and, you know, I really barely made it through school, but, like, looking back, it wasn't, because when you're at that age, it's like you don't really care.
Yep.
But, yeah, so, yeah, I wasn't a school kinda guy, that's not how I learned, but you can, I don't know, I was just trying to find ways to make it work, and the military was my way,
Right.
and, they
Well,
really push you to be the best version of yourself.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really great. What was when you were talking about, you kind of like that tech school? What was different in that than, like, say, high school or even middle school? I mean, is it just because it was something you wanted to do or something you were interested in? And is that
Y Yeah, so my job in my tech school kinda revolved around, diesel engines, right?
okay?
So, my truck is a diesel, and that's what I've worked on for years, so, that it was I thought it was fun because I already knew everything. And, so I could in turn help people out that was in my classes because maybe
Right.
they didn't know much about this or about that, but I already knew everything, so I was kinda just helping out people learn,
Yeah.
which helped me learn further because teaching somebody makes you learn more than just trying to learn it yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're right. I mean, doing something that you love is probably the first thing that, a lot of people, they say, oh, I want to do something that makes money, or I want to do something that is going to let me travel, or I want to, but man, you got to do something you love first, and then
Yeah,
you can do those other details down the road, you know?
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
and, like, Kokomo High School with the career school they have, they really help set it up. Like, I
Did you
wish
do
I would've
career
took it.
school?
So I took graphic design,
Okay. Okay.
'cause but that's what I was interested in at the time, but later on, I was like, "Man, I wish I would've took advantage of, like, something else that I'm into." Um,
Right.
I do like graphic design, though.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So I've got a couple fun questions for, well, maybe fun. They might be stupid. I don't know. So, all right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Mexican food or Chinese food?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with Mexican even though I've been eating some pretty authentic Chinese food here in
Oh
Guam.
yeah, I was gonna say because Guam, yeah, yeah. So do they have? Okay,
Yeah.
well that's a great question. Do they have like American restaurants over there? Is there like a Chili's down there, or is there? Do you guys have?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah,
I'm
actually, we do
assuming
have
a
a Chili's.
McDonald's is there, right?
Ye Yeah, yeah, so we do have, so there's a lot of, American restaurants, right? And since we're so close to Japan, the Japanese like to come visit, to get the
Oh.
American experience.
In
And
Guam.
yeah, yeah. So it's for them, it's the cheapest way to kind of get a portion of that rather than going all the way to the United States.
Uh,
But yeah, so there's most everything you think of, Denny's, IHOP, Chili's,
oh.
what is it? Like Burger King, Taco Bell, everything, pretty much most everything you think of, but no Chick-fil-A. So
Okay. All right. Is the food like at those like at Burger King? Is it similar to what you would if you came here? You think
yeah, so
tastes
it's all like the same, right?
really?
But none of the Cokes taste the same,
Uh,
in my opinion.
yeah.
I'm not a fan of, like, you want to get a nice Coca-Cola or Pepsi, like
Right.
it's just not the same.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go question two. All right. Um, favorite movie.
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. I don't know, maybe uh it's called what Meet the I think it's called Meet the Robinsons. It's like a kids movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
It's
All right. No. Hey, speaking of, so you said you had is your family with you there then?
yeah.
So okay. So your son's with you? Is that what you said you had a son or
Yeah, yeah. So he's in bed right now.
okay. Oh wow, okay. Oh yeah, I guess it's in the morning. He's probably sleeping in, right?
Yeah.
What's okay, and so do you have like a school there on base? It's like for
Yeah,
kids?
so there's I want to say elementary school and middle school.
Okay.
And then funny thing, the main high school here that's like the best high school here, it's John F. Kennedy High School. And there's a big statue of John F. Kennedy in
Just
front of it.
president, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like Guam High School, right? It's just
So they have a couple high schools, but
yeah,
that's like,
that's the big
that's
one.
like the big high school, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy High School. I was kind of like that was crazy to
Yeah,
see.
it's kind
Just
of
a
weird
big
to see
statue
that.
of John F. Kennedy was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, especially there. Yeah. All right, last one, and I'm gonna think I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna see. Would you rather go skydiving or scuba diving?
That's funny you asked that because my friend group just went skydiving 2 weeks ago, and I didn't want to go.
You didn't?
No, I didn't go, so I would rather scuba dive.
Oh, see, I thought since you're in the Air Force, I thought, oh, it's got to be skydiving.
No, I still don't like heights.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you do a lot of flying though?
So no,
No, you don't. Okay.
not at all. No, the
So
only flying I did was flying to Guam.
flying over there, and then when you go on deployment, you'll fly, and then that's about it. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like there is times like if I wanted to go fly in a helicopter or fly like
Oh,
in
yeah.
something, I could go ask, and usually most of the time the pilots are down to do
Yeah,
that
because
for you.
they want to go do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always these helicopters flying around above the house and
Wow.
jets and yeah.
Oh, that's
It's kind of weird being out on the flight line and you'll have these jets and they'll start the engines up before they fly off, and if they'll be like so there'll be two runways, but then there'll be a taxiway between the two, and so they'll park with the jets facing the runway. So like I'll be on the actual runway itself, and they'll be turn their jets on, and you can feel the heat, and it'll blow like grass up at you and stuff.
oh wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So overall, you'd say you're happy you joined. You're loving your experience in the military. You're
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
would I would say, yeah, the military just does so much for you. Like right now, they're paying for my house, they're paying for all my medical health care. I'm about to start college. And so what people typically think is that you don't make much, because you can look at what you make in the military and it's like, oh, 20, like, 25,000 a year, but you don't pay for anything. That's
Right.
strictly whatever you want to do with that money. So, you're not paying, you pay whatever bills you want to pay, right? Phone, internet,
Right.
insurance, typically about it.
Okay. All right. Well, Kyler, man, I got to tell you, dude, I love it. Actually, his brother went through Kokomo. We were just talking about his brother too. His
Yep.
brother's in the Army. he's stationed down in Cuba right now. You said, do you talk to him? Do you get to talk to him very much, or is it just kind of like this through internet? And
Yeah, so yeah, we actually we game together a lot too.
okay, so you got the
But
game.
he's on a he's on a way. It's so gaming is hard with my time schedule, right?
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna say,
So
what's the
typically,
time difference between Cuba and Guam? It's probably about
um,
similar to here,
I
right?
think I think it's almost the same.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
think
gonna
it's
say.
that crazy of a difference from Kokomo.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably isn't because I mean it's just south of Florida, and so yeah, it's probably similar. So
Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
about the same as you guys.
okay, okay. Well, that's awesome, man, Kyler. I appreciate it, man. I've been doing the Veterans Day thing, and honestly, I just told you I got to talk to a SEAL Team 6 dog handler a couple years ago. I had another SEAL, man. I had you. Honestly, this has been my favorite one because it's more personal to me. Because
Yeah.
you and I always got along in school. I always liked having you. You were kind of witty, and you
Hmm.
laughed at some of my corny jokes here and there, so it made it fun. But it's awesome. Like I said earlier, when we see our kids grow up, and I was figuring this out one day last year. Man, I think I've taught over like 2,000 kids over the years. This is my 26th year, and and for the most part, I can almost remember a lot of them. A lot of them I'll see them now, and I don't remember their faces, or I might remember their face,
Yeah.
but I don't remember their name. Or some of them I remember their name, but I don't recognize them. But you're definitely one of them that stood out. I always liked having you. That's what when I saw you on Facebook, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, Kyler, I love that guy. And then I find out you're in the military, and I was like, man, I do the Veterans Day thing, and I reached out to you, and you were right on it. So that's awesome. That's awesome to see,
Yeah.
man. And I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And thank you for doing this for us. And the whole school's going to see this. And honestly, we'll be thinking about you. Make sure you email me when you get off of your deployment stuff, so we know you're okay and everything's good.
Gotcha.
All
Hey,
right.
you want to see my patches?
Let's see it. What do you got?
This one is it's a bull on a beach, and it's 36 Civil Engineering Squadron. So this is my squadron patch.
Okay.
Pretty neat. And then
Yeah, that's cool.
so this side,
Oh,
it's
that's for
Pacific
power.
Air Forces. Yep. And then power production. So
Yep.
power. So yeah, typically in the Air Force, what their job is, people will have like a patch here that says like electricians just says elec. You got whatever your job is, typically it's gonna say that on your arm. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you get
Air Force has the coolest patches.
you get your flag and everything on there. That's awesome, man. I love it. I love it, dude. Thank you so much for everything you do, Kyler. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for doing this.
Oh,
And be safe.
anytime.
All right, buddy.
Thank you. You too.
All right, we'll see you.
See ya.